Ever wondered if astrology is an ancient source of wisdom or a waste of time? Let's step back in time and explore. Astrology, from the Greek astron, meaning star, and logia, meaning study, is the ancient practice of interpreting the cosmos to gain insight into our lives. It's been around for thousands of years, with roots in the earliest recorded civilizations. From the Babylonians to the Greeks and Romans, to the ancient Chinese, astrology was a revered practice, used to predict seasonal shifts, celestial events, and even wars. Kings and emperors often had court astrologers to guide them in their rule. The zodiac signs we know today, they originated from these ancient civilizations, each sign associated with celestial bodies and mythological beings. Astrology was, and still is, intricately woven into the tapestry of human history. But is astrology more than just a relic of our past? Stay tuned as we delve deeper into this celestial conundrum. Did you know that constellations are just illusions from our earthly perspective? That's right. When you gaze up at the night sky, the stars forming those familiar shapes, often associated with myths and legends, aren't as close to each other as they may appear. They're light years apart, scattered across the vast expanse of the universe. The Big Dipper, Orion's Belt, the Pleiades. These constellations are merely a product of human imagination, a result of us connecting the dots and creating stories from those patterns. Imagine you're sitting in a theater. The actors on stage seem to be in close proximity, but from a bird's eye view, you'd see they're scattered about. It's the same with constellations. Stars that seem to be neighbors might actually be light years apart. In fact, the stars within a single constellation can be hundreds, thousands, even millions of light years away from each other. Take, for instance, the constellation Orion. Betelgeuse, the second brightest star in Orion, is roughly 640 light-years away from us, while Bellatrix, another star in the same constellation, is only 240 light-years away. They appear close in the night sky, but in reality they're incredibly distant from one another. So what does this mean for astrology? Well, if the stars that make up these constellations aren't close to each other, it's hard to see how they can form a coherent influence or energy that could impact our lives. Moreover, the constellations themselves have shifted over time due to the precession of the Earth's axis. This means that the stars that were in a particular constellation at the time astrology was conceived are not in the same position now. It's a bit like imagining a group of people standing in a straight line, but when you get closer, you realize they're scattered in a park, some near, some far, and from another angle, there's no line at all. So, can these distant stars really influence our lives? It surely seems like a stretch, doesn't it? Imagine how the positions of the Earth, Moon, and stars could influence your relationships or financial situation. Now, that's quite a thought, isn't it? But let's take a moment to ponder. Our lives in all their complexity, influenced by celestial bodies light years away? It's a bit like saying the London Bridge decides the price of tea in China, don't you think? Truth is, the universe is vast, and the distances between celestial bodies are mind-bogglingly large. The Moon, our nearest celestial neighbor, is about 239,000 miles away. The Sun, which unquestionably influences life on Earth, is a staggering 93 million miles distant. And the stars, well, they're light years away. That's trillions of miles to put it into perspective. So how could these far-off celestial bodies possibly exert a tangible influence on our personal lives, our relationships, or our financial situation? Is there any concrete evidence supporting the claims of astrology? Let's delve into the studies that have debunked astrology over the years. A fascinating scientific journey awaits us as we explore the evidence contradicting the principles of astrology. Over the years, researchers have extensively studied and scrutinized astrology, often with results that contradict its fundamental claims. In the late 70s, French statistician Michel Gauquelin embarked on a study to test the validity of astrological predictions. He gathered the birth details of 20,000 successful people across various professions and looked for any astrological patterns. The results? No significant correlation between their success and astrological predictions. Fast forward to 2003, a study published in the Journal of Consciousness Studies, led by Jeffrey Dean, a former astrologer turned skeptic, and Ivan Kelly, a psychologist at the University of Saskatchewan, examined over 40 controlled studies. They found no evidence to support astrology's central claim that the position of celestial bodies at the time of birth can predict personal traits or life events. And it doesn't stop there. In a comprehensive study conducted in 2006, Sean Carlson, a physicist at the University of California, tested the claims of astrology with a double-blind procedure. Astrologers were given birth charts, but were unable to predict the correct personality profile associated with those charts better than chance. These findings have been replicated and verified across the globe, from the United States to Australia, providing compelling evidence that the stars and planets may not hold the key to our destiny after all. But here's a bit of cheeky humor to lighten things up. If astrology held the answers to wealth and success, wouldn't astrologers be the richest people around? Oddly enough, that doesn't seem to be the case. Astrology, with its ancient roots and widespread appeal, certainly has its charm. But when we examine it under the microscope of science, its claims often seem to crumble. Astrology seems to be losing ground in the face of evidence, doesn't it? As we continue to explore this intriguing topic, let's keep our minds open, but our skepticism healthy. Did you know many of the zodiac signs are based on ancient gods that people don't believe in anymore? The zodiac, a celestial belt where the sun seems to travel, is made up of 12 constellations, each represented by a unique sign. These signs, however, aren't just random symbols. They're closely tied to ancient mythology. For instance, Aries the ram is linked to the Greek god Ares, the deity of war. Taurus the bull harks back to Zeus, the king of the gods, who transformed himself into a bull in one of his many myths. Sagittarius, the archer, is connected to Chiron, the wisest of the centaurs. These are just a few examples, but each zodiac sign has its roots in ancient mythology, a time when people believed in the direct intervention of gods in their daily lives. Today, most don't believe in these gods, yet the zodiac signs persist. So, are we basing our lives on obsolete beliefs? Ever thought about how the sun's movement through the zodiac constellations is all an illusion of perspective? It's a captivating spectacle, isn't it? But let's unwrap this cosmic charade. The sun doesn't actually prance across constellations. This apparent celestial ballet is in fact a consequence of our home planet's own journey around the sun. It's akin to sitting in a moving train and seeing the world outside whiz past. The trees and buildings aren't moving, it's you. Similarly, the sun, stars, and all those zodiac constellations aren't shifting around in a cosmic dance. It's our Earth, pirouetting on its axis and orbiting the sun, that gives us this grand illusion of celestial motion. So when you think about it, astrology, which bases its predictions on these perceived movements, is akin to forecasting the weather based on the motion of the clouds from a moving train. Doesn't this make astrology seem a bit unrealistic? Isn't it a bit absurd to date or not date someone based on the time of year they were born? Picture this. You meet someone. They're charming, intelligent, and attractive, but oh no, they're a Scorpio and you're a Leo. Cue the dramatic music. Astrology suggests that our personalities, our compatibility, even our destinies, are somehow written in the stars, determined by the celestial positioning at the time of our birth. This idea has influenced countless love stories, friendships, and even business partnerships. But when we step back and think about it, isn't it rather irrational to hinge such significant life decisions on something as arbitrary as astrological signs? The universe is vast and complex, and while it's tempting to seek guidance from the stars, it's important to remember that human relationships are far more intricate than any horoscope could ever encapsulate. So isn't it time to reconsider astrology's influence on our relationships? Ever noticed how astrologers are never wealthy? If astrology was real, wouldn't they be very successful? A chuckle-worthy thought, isn't it? This brings us to an important psychological concept that often fuels our belief in astrology: confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is our tendency to favor information that confirms our existing beliefs or values, while ignoring contradictory evidence. In the realm of astrology, confirmation bias plays a starring role. Horoscopes, for instance, often feature vague and general predictions. When something similar happens in our lives, we're quick to connect the dots, attributing the event to our horoscope's accuracy. But remember, we tend to overlook the instances when these predictions don't pan out. This selective memory makes us believe in the infallibility of astrology. So does that mean astrology is a sham? Not necessarily. Astrology then is not a reliable source of wisdom, but a fascinating piece of our cultural history. It's a testament to humanity's eternal quest to understand the cosmos and our place within it.